One evening while out on a date, John and Starla Castanis received an unexpected phone call. Their 14-month-old baby boy had been left unattended by the babysitter in the bathtub, and he had slipped and fell. He was rushed to the hospital, but despite every effort the doctors made, he passed away. Shortly after receiving this devastating news, the couple was asked the question if they wanted to donate their son's organs. Amid their despair and the shock of the sudden loss of their son, this thought gave them the sense of hope and added new meaning to Colby's life. They agreed that that was what they wanted to do, was to donate his organs. Colby's gifts had far-reaching effects. His kidneys were able to be transplanted into a 27-year-old man, his liver was implanted into a 2-year-old little girl, and his heart was given to a 5-month-old baby boy. Colby's life may have ended too soon, but he was able to give life and hope to so many others, affecting generations. Organ donation is a selfless gift that provides someone else a second chance at life. According to the United Network of Organ Sharing, also known as the UNOS, over 120,000 people in the United States are waiting for a transplant. It's a long list, and there aren't enough donors. Approximately 21 Americans die every day waiting. Let's make this a thing of the past. I want to explain to you a little bit today on how the process of transplantation and organ donation work, address some of the concerns and myths that are associated with it, and look to how we can turn tragedy into hope by becoming donors ourselves. The U.S. Department of Health Services tells us how the process begins, and it starts when a patient has organs that are failing them and they require transplant to survive. Once they are evaluated and determined if they're a good candidate, they're placed on a list, and this list is run by the Organ Procurement and Transplant Network, the OPTN. The OPTN operates on a national database, and it contains all the patients in the United States that are waiting for a transplant. There's no way to know how long the wait list is, and many people don't receive the organ in time. Once the OPTN has a donor, they match it with someone on the waiting list. Factors that coincide with the matching include blood type, body size, how sick a patient is, the distance from the donor, tissue type, and time that the patient has been on the waiting list. Most donations do come from deceased donors, and there is somewhat of a time frame that we are able to keep the organs viable to be transplanted. To be viable, an organ has to have blood continually flowing through it. So only certain types of deaths would allow for this. Some of those might include a stroke, possibly a car accident, brain aneurysm, or lack of oxygen. All of these things cause brain death. Organs that are available to transplant include the heart, liver, the lungs, kidneys, intestines, cornea, and tissue. One person can save up to 8 people through organ donation, and one person can enhance the lives of 50 others through eye and tissue donation. After every effort has been made to save the donor and consent has been given, the hospital will assess if the donor is eligible for organ donation. If they are, then the hospital will call the local organ procurement organization. They take care of transporting the organs. They also contact the OPTN, and once the OPTN finds a match, then they take the organs from the hospital that the donor is at and take them to the hospital where the transplant patient is waiting to receive them. There are several concerns and myths that are associated with organ donation, and one of the major ones is based around religion and whether or not the their religion will allow that or support it. According to the UNOS, most major religions in the United States support and consider donation as a final act of love and generosity towards others. And for your own information, I know a lot of you or most of you are LDS, and according to the LDS Handbook, they say that donation of organs and tissues is a selfless act that often results in great benefit to individuals with medical conditions. The decision to will one's own body, organs, or tissue, or the decision to authorize the transplant of organs or tissue from a deceased family member is made by the individual or the deceased member's family. Another myth that surrounds organ donation is that we won't be able to give our deceased family member an open casket funeral, which helps a lot of people with grieving. Usually, in most cases, the open casket is possible even if you are an organ donor. The body of the organ donor is treated with great respect and dignity throughout the whole process, and they do everything they can to make sure that the family's wishes are kept. Another myth that surrounds organ donation is that we can't afford it. There is no cost to donors or families to have their organs or tissues donated. And another myth is I'm too old, too young, or not healthy enough. People of all ages and medical conditions should consider themselves potential donors. Your medical conditions will be assessed upon your time of death that will determine what organs can be donated. So even though you might not be able to donate all of them, there might be one or two that you would be eligible for, and that would make a big impact on a lot of people. It's extremely easy to become an organ donor. One of the most common ways is to go through your DMV, and you just register there. They ask you if you would like to, and you just sign there. There are several ways now online that we're able to do that. Some of those websites include organize.org, Donate Life America, or you can go directly to the unos.org. And registration is very easy. You just pretty much sign your name and a couple of like your address, your state you live in, and the last 4 digits of your social security number, and you're registered. It takes about 30 seconds to a minute to do. I did it myself, and it was very quick and easy. Although it's not just enough to register, we also need to let our friends and family know what our decision has been and what we wish for our organs whenever we pass away. The reason that we need to talk to our family members is because oftentimes, no matter what your registration on your driver's license says, the hospital will still ask your family for consent, and they have to sign it off. So it's important for your family to know what your wishes are. Organ transplantation is one of the true medical wonders of our age. Countless lives have been blessed because of the generous life-giving gift of others. Alicia, a liver recipient, said, "The real heroes are the donors and their families. I look at it this way. There could have been 2 tragedies, but my donor family turned their tragedy into a blessing, and I am forever grateful." There's a good chance that most of you are already supporters of organ donation. In fact, 95% of Americans are in support of organ donation, but according to the UNOS, only 40% are registered. Are you registered? And does your family know what your wishes are? We can truly make a difference in the lives of others. We can turn a tragedy into a blessing by becoming a donor and sharing our thoughts and feelings with our friends and family and encouraging them to do the same. I'd like to thank you for your time and encourage you to go and register. It really can make a difference, and you'll be blessing the lives of so many. Thank you.